My name's Margery Freeman, and I'm an activist. I've been part of the People's Institute work since the early 1980s. And one of my stories that I like to tell is the fact that I came into the work as an anti-racist activist having a long, long history. I had already spent 30-some years calling myself a radical activist, doing socialist work, working for different causes, the civil rights movement, the anti-war movement, the women's movement. And so I thought I had all of the bona fides, all of the credentials for being able to call myself a radical activist. But when I went to my first Undoing Racism workshop in 1983, I was very angry, because I realized that what had happened to me is that I had not really understood what I was doing. I hadn't had any kind of framework. I was just doing good work, which is such a common thing for those of us who are white and educated women to do. We love to help people, and so we go to work. And as Jim Dunn once said, he loves to help people who are sick, but it doesn't give him the right to go and work on them. And that's what I was doing. I was working on them. I was doing good work, but it was not work that was very effective. So the process of getting engaged as an anti-racist was, I had the great good fortune of being mentored by both Jim Dunn and Ron Chisholm, as well as by my husband David Billings and others whom I had known, Jim Hayes and others in the New Orleans area where I was living at the time. And so having them be part of my support in my learning was just essential. And one of the things that happened in our life is that soon after I had been introduced to the People's Institute, David and I moved to New York for a couple of years. And we were living one year in Englewood, New Jersey. And it was the very year that Jim Dunn, one of the co-founders of the People's Institute, had been diagnosed with cancer, and he was very sick. And he was in New York and couldn't live by himself, so he came to live with us at our house in New Jersey. And his new baby and his wife came and lived with us as well for the spring of 1985. But it was like a intensive, it was like a tutorial. Here's a man that people think is not going to be long for this world, but everything he does, everything he did and everything he said was always about helping people to find themselves, to get clear about who they were, and to become more effective in the work they wanted to do. So his impact on my family was profound. Our teenage son, 15-year-old, our 12-year-old son, both were deeply impacted by having this experience. And I learned so much from just watching his interactions with people. And when the People's Institute teaches something like, in order to be effective organizers, you have to build relationships, I was living that very lesson in my house with my children, watching the way in which this profound and deeply humane person was able to always be listening to other people, always being able to take time with other people. It was a wonderful experience for me, and so I really learned so much from that. You want me to stop for that?